Hello, everyone. It's Chris Platty, and if you're listening, you know by the title what this podcast is. It's a tribute to Kobe Bryant, who tragically died in a helicopter accident on Sunday with 8 other people, including his daughter, Gianna, or Gigi. Um, this is on YouTube as opposed to my podcast feed, and the reason that is because where I distribute my podcast, Megaphone, has advertising, and it's done automatically. It's automatically inserted. It's all algorithm based to essentially help podcasters like myself who are young and upcoming help find get them money. And um, I didn't want this to have any advertising. I didn't want this to. I didn't want to make a cent off of this podcast. This is me straight from the heart. So no introduction, no beat. We're just going into this podcast. It's on YouTube right now, but I spoke with the head of advertising at Megaphone, and we're working on a solution that can allow me to disable ads for just that episode. And once we figure that out, then I can and I will put it on the podcast channel. But for now, it's here on YouTube because, again, I don't want any advertising on this episode. I'm doing this episode to pay my respects to Kobe and also to help me personally because I didn't want to do the tribute podcast to Nipsey Hussle last year with Spike Lee, but I ended up deciding to record it, and afterwards it felt a lot better. I just wish that I didn't have to do another podcast to another idol less than a year later. But here we are. Words can't describe how I feel right now. I know that sounds wrong because I'm here on a podcast, which is all audio driven, but my thoughts are going to be scrambled. This is all going to be one raw, uncut take. I don't know if it's going to be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or however. I don't know how long this is going to go. I'm just going to say what I feel on my heart, and wherever it goes, it goes. Because I just want to pay the ultimate respect to Kobe Bryant, who had such an impact on all of the NBA and just humanity in general. But before I get to that, and before I get to specifically tributing Kobe, I do want to take time to express my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the entire family and friends of all of the passengers of the helicopter that crashed. I have their names here. Forgive me if these are wrong, because honestly, I don't know if I'm pronouncing some of these last names right. So again, please forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't want to come across disrespectful. The victims of this helicopter crash are Kobe Bryant, Gianna Bryant, John Altobelli, Carrie Altobelli, Alyssa Altobelli, Christina Mauser, Sarah Chester, Peyton Chester, and Ara Zobayan. Again, my deepest apologies if I'm pronouncing any of those names wrong. But I guess let's get on with the tribute. First, some background information. I'm sure many of you are aware of the story, but for those of you that aren't, here's a quick summary. At 9:41 a.m. local time, residents in Calabasas heard a helicopter spinning out of control just seconds before it crashed. Paramedics arrived on the scene, but none of the 9 passengers survived. The latest updates from New York Times and several other outlets is that the helicopters, both private and police, were not boarding due to the extreme fog, but Kobe's got a special clearance to fly, where they were on their way to a basketball tournament for Kobe's daughter. And on that flight was also one of Kobe's teammates, one of Kobe's daughter's teammates, excuse me. At this time, it is believed that the main issue was not engine problems, but it was these bad weather conditions. However, the investigation is still active at this time. The remaining family of the Bryant family is his wife, Vanessa Bryant, his daughters, Natalia, Bianca Bella, and his newest born, Capri Kobe. And of course, he's the son of Pam and Joe Bryant. This is horrible. This is a horrible, horrible day for basketball, for humanity, like I said. Kobe was someone who transcended basketball. He transcended sports. He transcended life, really, to be an ultimate icon. We don't have to get into his MVP, his 5 championships, his 18 All-Stars. We don't have to get into all of that. His accolades. And there's so many to name that it would probably double the length of this podcast because of how successful he was, how incredible he was in the NBA. But I want to take some time to focus on what Kobe was doing after, because Kobe was doing outside of basketball was huge. So it wasn't just after, it was also during. But he did many charities over his time. He granted over 250 Make-A-Wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He launched the Bryant Basketball Academy. He started a charity to fight homelessness. And he did a lot of things for children. He did many movie screenings. He did basketball clinics, just numerous other activities aimed at helping children. He was very much focused in that department when it came to his charity work. And that's why this is a loss that's bigger than the NBA, that's bigger than sports. This is a loss on a human level, because Kobe Bryant was genuinely impacting the entire world, not just the sports world. Forget about the millions and millions and millions of people that he inspired across the entire world. Mike Breen had an amazing story that he told when he was broadcasting the Knicks game. Again, forgive me for telling somebody else's story here, because it's not going to be as good. But Mike Breen was getting in a cab, and he had an NBA kind of pullover jumpsuit, and the guy in the cab, who didn't speak English very well, said, Kobe Bryant? And he's like, yes, I know Kobe Bryant. And the taxi driver pulled over the car and immediately began sobbing. And this was a 30-year-old grown man who barely spoke English, or spoke broken English. And here he was breaking down and crying just off of somebody who knew Kobe. Not Kobe Bryant himself, but just knowing Kobe Bryant. And that to me was a beautiful story, because it really told just how many people's lives he touched. And he touched them to such an extreme point that you didn't have to know him to feel connected to him. And that's what makes this so tough. That's what makes this so sad. That's what makes everything so hard to deal with and to accept, because Kobe was someone that transcended sports, and he was bigger than life. he was a superhero. That's why there's so many people that don't know him mourning his passing. I don't know him publicly. None of my friends know him publicly, or privately, or however you want to put it. None of us know who Kobe Bryant is, but we are all devastated because that's how impactful he was. He was a superhero in every sense of the word. He felt like Ramona Shelburne put it excellently when she said that he was somebody. There's never going to be another Kobe Bryant because nobody was able to write a narrative and a legacy like Kobe. And she said that Kobe always knew that, and Kobe was always conscious of that. And that's so true, because you just look at all the things that happened in Kobe's career. The good, the bad, the on the court, the off the court. They all just tell this story. This is a story. If you want to tell a story about an athlete, this is something that you couldn't even, some of the best writers in Hollywood couldn't even come up with the stories, to have be the young prospect that everybody loves, to reach amazing heights early, have a tumultuous breakup with your other franchise player that got really ugly and really broke the NBA community, to then have these years of struggle and these off-court problems, to then shift from number 8 to 24 to almost start a new chapter. And I didn't understand it as a kid because I was a child when Kobe was changing his number. I don't remember nearly as much of number 8 as I remember of number 24. So with that being said, he created this new chapter, and now that I'm looking back at it, I could see it as a new chapter because I could see the change in him as a person now that I know more about him in his younger days and more about him now and more about him in that time period. I just know more about Kobe's life because now I'm more mature, and I'm able to look at things and comprehend things that a child can't. But even as a kid, Kobe just had this feeling like he was a superhero. We all shot a paper ball in the trash can a million times and said Kobe. And we don't know why we did it. We just did it. And that was because he transcended basketball. He transcended life. He had an impact on us that was so great that it was unbelievable. And Kobe knew that. And that's part of the reason I have peace. It's very hard to record this right now, but that's one of the things that's giving me peace beyond my faith, is the fact that I know Kobe was loved and appreciated. I know that. Kobe knows that he definitely got his flowers while he was still here. Obviously he deserved to have so many more flowers for another. I mean, he wasn't even, in my eyes, his life wasn't even half over yet. And obviously he doesn't get to be a father to his amazing daughters, and that's probably what hurts even the most of it, was the fact that his daughter was on that plane. God, that's just, I don't have kids, but man, I can't imagine what that does to a family to lose a husband and a child in the same day. I can't imagine what's going through Vanessa's mind right now, and just the rest of that family to lose a sister and a father on the same day. And what was truly just an accident. There wasn't really an at fault. This wasn't a situation like Aaliyah's where the pilot was on drugs or anything like that. This was just an accident that ripped apart multiple families, not just the Bryant family, the Mauser family, the Chester family, the Zobayan family. This is something that really just ripped apart multiple families, and that's what makes it so hard. Is that Kobe wrote his legacy, but his daughter, she didn't get to write hers, and from what it seems, she was well on her path to doing that. I'm sure you guys have all seen the video. I don't know if it's Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. I'm blanking right now, so forgive me. But there's a video where Kobe is talking about being approached a lot of times by people saying, "Oh, you got to have a son to carry on the tradition." And one time his daughter is with him when somebody's telling him that, and she's like, "No, I got this." And to see Kobe, the smile on his face, and the confidence that he had in his own daughter, oh my God, that video just breaks my heart. And as I'm sure you can tell in the change of my voice, it brings me to tears. That's just something that's so sad about this. It makes it even so much harder. It's one thing if it's Kobe, who again got his flowers, wrote his legacy. By any means, his story wasn't done. And obviously, he had so much more to give, not only as a celebrity, but also as a father. But at the same time, he had a journey, and so many of these other people, his daughter included, just didn't get to even really start their journey. And that's what's so hard about this. And that's what just brings me down every time I think of it. But trying to remember the good times of Kobe. I can gladly say that I never hated Kobe. Everybody, so many fan bases hated Kobe because he just ripped their heart out time after time. And maybe it made it easy because my entrance to basketball was in '04 when the Pistons beat him. So maybe that made it easier for me to like him. But I know so many fans, Jazz fans, Clippers fans, you name the team, and there's some fan that came in at some point in time during Kobe's career and had a disdain but a respect for Kobe, just because he would kill their team. He would light them up. He was absolutely relentless on the court, and that was something that was so admirable about him. And again, another reason why he felt like a superhero. He was the most immortal player I feel like ever, in my lifetime of watching. I didn't get to watch Jordan, and LeBron definitely feels that way as well. In the sense that you're stunned if they lose, and that's what Kobe felt like, especially as a kid. It just felt like there was no way in hell Kobe was ever not going to win, and if he didn't win, it almost felt like it was a part of the journey, and that was something I was thinking subconsciously, not even really registering until now, when I get the grand scheme of things. I even recalling those days, I can go back to where my mind was at those moments of him, losing to the Celtics in '08, and I never thought Kobe was done after that, or I never thought he was washed or anything like that. I knew Kobe was going to come back, and I knew he was going to come back strong. And what did he do? He won 2 straight titles back to back. Just incredible. Just an absolutely incredible athlete. And this is just such a tragic loss for everyone. Basketball fans, non-basketball fans, because of all the charity work that he was doing. Just humanity as a whole. It always sucks when it feels like you're losing one of the good guys. And don't get me wrong, Kobe wasn't perfect, but um, I definitely see an improvement and a change in him. And that was another amazing thing too. Actually, was listening to Vince Carter talk with the Atlanta Hawks media, and he said that he spoke to Kobe, and Kobe said that he was at his happiest in life. And I gotta be honest with you that when I heard that, it it floored me. Not in the moment, because obviously or not now, I should say, because I'm processing things, but in the moment, it's amazing, because Kobe was so dedicated, so determined, so strong-willed about the game of basketball, that that him retiring, him walking away, you never would have expected somebody that competitive to be at peace with with their basketball mortality. But he moved on. He clearly started his second chapter, and he was clearly going to do big things. I mean, this guy got an Oscar like just a year or two after his retirement. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. Like, to reach the heights that he reached in basketball, and then to go all the way back to another industry, and achieve such a height that many writers, directors, actors, many people in that industry just can never reach. And and they're talented as hell, and Kobe is able to achieve it in just a short time. So there was no doubt in my mind that Kobe was going to be very, very successful in his next chapter. Um, and that was something that was so inspiring, was hearing the stories. It made me, getting into media, respect Kobe much more, because I look at this podcast from a perspective of the future. I look at what I believe this podcast is going to be, not what it is right now. And I used to hear all these stories about Kobe uh, using his celebrity to call, CEOs of all these different companies, of all these different media outlets, and just people that are in Hollywood or whatever, just anybody that achieved great success, and he would like pick their brains, and he was always reading books. Um, just he had a mind that was just always hungry to learn, and that was something that I extremely, extremely admired about him, because that you can't do what Kobe does without that mindset. He had just a hunger to learn and to grow, always to constantly evolve. And it's just such a shame that we don't get to see his vision panned out. Um, but I'll never forget the time he was here. I never will. I'll never forget in '05, as a kid just starting to learn basketball, watching. I used to look forward to him and Rip Hamilton going at it, thinking those were two of the best players in the NBA. Um, before I started to learn that, oh yeah, there's these guys, LeBron James and all of these other Kevin Garnett, all these other great players around the league. But in those times, I used to think, oh man, Rip Hamilton and Kobe, this is a battle for the ages. um, and I used to watch him just year after year be relentless and succeed, and it didn't matter what his percentages were. He was going to shoot the last shot, and you trusted it. And he was going to persevere. He was going to find a way to persevere. Even his failures felt like a step towards perseverance. And that's what's so amazing. That's what's so storybook about Kobe Bryant's life. You know, you talk to NBA players, and these NBA players will say, look, I don't care that Kobe wasn't the most efficient basketball player on the earth. Kobe was somebody who just had this mentality that was going to will him and carry him to his highest heights. And it might not have happened in that moment, but you knew it was going to happen eventually because he was just that successful. If I would have been somebody who was fully cognizant in 2005 when Shaq left the Lakers to join the Miami Heat, if I was fully cognizant then, knowing Kobe's mentality, I would have bet any dime I had that Kobe would get another ring. Even after watching those Smush Parker era Lakers where there was nothing. He had nothing on his roster as far as help. And I still would have bet the house on Kobe winning another championship because there was just something about him that was so unearthly, that was superhuman. Again, I keep using the words superhero, superhuman, immortal. These are all words that really, really fit Kobe Bryant, and that's why this story is what is so incredible. The story of his career, and now unfortunately, it's the story of his life. Man, it doesn't seem real every time you see the graphic of Kobe Bryant and you see the little parentheses of born and died. It doesn't seem right. I go from every hour of every day, my thoughts change from sadness to denial, almost like it's like this is some out of body experience that we're all gonna wake up from. This is some simulation that we're all gonna be pulled from. But no, it's real, and it's so unfortunate. And I don't want to be much longer with this because I want to close this on the right note, because this is one of the hardest podcasts that I've ever had to do. So I want to say my prayers and condolences to everyone that was involved in the tragic helicopter accident, and also to Kobe. You are a hero, a legend, an icon, and someone that transcended the NBA, the sports world, humanity. This is a loss that goes beyond basketball. I really believe that. And that's why it'll always seem hard and it'll never seem right. But we all have to keep pushing. It's hard to watch basketball right now. It is. But one day it'll be a little bit easier. I promise. I believe it. So, thank you everyone for listening to this podcast, allowing me to get my thoughts out there to the world. This helps me more than you guys know, and I appreciate each and every one of you that listen more than you know. So thank you, truly. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, Gianna Bryant. Rest in peace, everyone involved in that fatal accident. Once again, I want to give everybody's name, and once again, I want to apologize if some of these names are wrong, because my thoughts and prayers are with everyone involved. John Altobelli, Carrie Altobelli, Alyssa Altobelli, Christina Mauser, Sarah Chester, Peyton Chester, and Ara Zobayan. Rest in peace, everyone. You will be tragically missed, and it's okay to mourn people that you don't know. It is, because that just shows how impactful they were. I got to listen to a little bit of the Mauser family story about how both of them were teachers and basketball coaches, and they were active in helping kids' lives. So I'm more in them too, because I know at the end of the day, they were making a difference in this world, and they were making it a better place. Maybe not on the same scale as Kobe, but their impact was good, and I'll always mourn anybody who passes that I believe had a good impact on this world. Sometimes life just sucks, and things don't work out the way we believe they're supposed to. But I take joy in knowing that Kobe got his appreciation while he's here, and it just sucks that I won't be able to give you that appreciation, even though I know you've got it, even though I know you don't need another kid telling you how great you were, Kobe, how impactful you were. You were such a huge success to me, and that's all I've ever dreamed of with this platform, is one day taking it to a level where I can leverage opportunities to meet all of my role models that have greatly impacted my life and just tell them thank you. It doesn't have to be on the podcast. I just have to be famous enough, blessed enough, whatever it is, to get in the same room as them, shake their hand, and tell them thank you. And it really sucks that Kobe, one of the biggest ones, I won't get to do that. So, just everyone, be sure that the people you respect, the people that you love, the people that you admire, whether they're your friends, family, or their role models in your career, let them know their importance, because not everybody's as blessed as Kobe was to be able to see that. Right now, if there's somebody in the world that motivates you, send them a message. They might not see it, but just get that thought out there. Let them know that they had an impact on your life, a positive impact on your life, because that's what I believe is most important in humanity, is just everybody who achieves greatness, who achieves success, who inspires, who changes, who shifts the world to a better place, no matter how big or small. The least we could do is give them that credit. So without further ado, once again, my condolences to everyone. Fans, friends, family, anyone that knew any of the 9 passengers on this helicopter. My heart is with you. And these are sad times right now, but we're going to get through this. I know it. I believe it. I promise it. It's just going to take some time. So thank you everyone for listening to this episode. I greatly appreciate all of you. And I'll see you on the next one.